Okay, happy Imbolc, everybody. I've only got this thing at 50%, so I hope everybody can hear me okay. Sorry I'm so whitewashed. Here, let me get over here a little better. Uh, let me let Brooke know that I'm on Janelle, because I haven't been on this one in a while. Because I don't know who might be about today, so. Brooke, where are you at? There you are. Give that a minute. Okay. I wanted to, I guess, start this video off by thanking the Green Witch, who I recently found that I subscribed to on this computer. I already subscribed to her on my Chromebook, but I haven't used my Janelle account for a while, so I decided, why not? It's Imbolc. Let's do something a little different. I've done so many in my Janet Mabius one because I'm usually on my Chromebook with that one. So it's like, okay, let's do Janelle Mabius. I know is this one. So that one is the other, Janet Mabius. So whenever I want to do a Janelle, I'll just do this one, and so on and so on. When I want to do the other one, I'll do it on my Chromebook, Janet Mabius. So Brooke hopefully will pop on here shortly. I don't know. It's like probably after 4 or so there in England. But I always let her know, hey, I'm live on Janelle, or hey, I'm live on Janet Mabius one, so she knows which one I'm at. Because she should, and I'll remind her of this if she comes on. Brooke, honey, make sure you have the bell icon on your thing checked below my video here. Because that will let you know, or at least it should let you know when I'm about to do a live stream. But because you're all the way in England, I don't know what kind of signal strength we're talking. So I don't know. So I know that it's a new moon right now, I believe, because I watched Magical Crafting as well. I would like to thank Lady Bridget for how she has inspired me, and thank the Green Witch how she's inspired me. And I got this new little sweetheart that she's gothic, and she's got the whole white face and the black lipstick and whole goth thing going on, but she's adorable, and she's British, Brooke, so you might want to check her out. I grabbed one of her videos and put it in my witchy stuff, so I'll have to try to figure out how to type in how you can go to her channel and check it out. She had this really cool thing on beginner witches, and so did the Green Witch. And I thought it was funny because first I found the one girl, the goth girl, and I think she said she calls herself Hearth. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Nobody's ever done that before that I know of. I've never heard of Hearth before. I've heard, I could do, let's see Lady Belpania is my actual magical name that I've done. But I watched the beginner segment from the Green Witch all the way through, part 1 anyway. I didn't watch part 2, but I'll watch that later. I put it on my witchy stuff. I'll find it. It should be right after the first one. But then I have meditations and stuff on that too, which, speaking of meditations, let me go into YouTube, because I'm on my other laptop. I got to remember this thing is slow as Christmas. And oh no. Okay. Never mind. I would have to physically punch it in. I don't want to go through all that right now. Going to lay down? Okay, so
I slept actually halfway decent last night, but
well, good. And I felt you caress my back before you left or whatever. I thought it was one of the cats. But then when I got up and realized you weren't here, I'm like, hello?
I
saying bye and letting me know that you were going to do that.
Tell you what we were going out to do.
Yeah, I knew you were taking her to do that. I mean, today, and I figured, being the way she is, she would rather do it first thing in the morning.
No, I was the one who wanted to do it.
First thing in the morning. Okay,
Because
so okay, I got it wrong. I don't know. Let's see. Hopefully, Brooke will be able to, hop on. I don't know. I just usually she hops on pretty quick, but then she could be dealing with the boys right now or doing something. And I talk about her as third party because she's not here right now. She's she hasn't popped on yet. She might be too busy. I don't know.
Your cat's on my pillow.
What do you want me to do about it, Mr. Man?
Time to quit stealing my pillow.
Pagan mix, of course. I always say that because I don't know. I never know when new people might be watching through one of my subs. And do me a favor, Brooke, since you seem to be able to figure it out before, could you tell me what my followers are up to now? Like, is it more than 12 or is it still 12? Just so I have an idea. And again, thank you, every one of you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Happy Imbolc 3 times over for all of my subs. I'm sorry for those of you that I don't keep the type of witchy hours that I would really like to right now. I guess maybe kind of this is my way, my witchy way of not only celebrating the holiday, but explaining like some of my experiences, that I've had on this holiday, like years before today. And I mean, here we are, 2022. So, God got us blessed that we're all still here and it's another day, make the most of it. But I got some really good ideas because I've been asking, this is so funny. This is how the goddess works. And this is what I love about her. I've been asking and putting it out into the universe that, what can I do to have better content in my videos? Because so many witches are doing it, but it's not like with witches, it's not a competition like it may be for a lot of other people. Now I have other witch books in here that I do have easy access to, and usually most of them try to make it a point to have the 8 the 8 Wiccan, I call them Wiccan holy days, because to me each one is sacred. And I really it gave me what I was asking for. It gave me ideas that, oh, okay. Because for instance, I've been talking about my astrology parapsychology diploma. I call it degree, but it bothers people. Like I think it bothers Chris, and I don't mean it I'm not boasting, I'm not bragging. It's a diploma, but to me, it's a degree. It's a degree of level of understanding that I now have that I didn't once have. So I've found the perfect way, YouTube here to do my astrology parapsychology stuff. And, try to do it in a teachable way, but make it fun. That's my thing is they say, if you make learning fun, then you're probably going to have a lot more people are going to be curious and interested. And I will say hi, just call me Lady Bell. That's sometimes easier for people, for any newcomers that have joined my channel. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. This is my cat, Kalika. She's my familiar, and we have 4 cats. So 2 males, 2 females, and the girls don't like the boys, but hey, isn't that life? Sometimes us girls get frustrated with our boys because they just rub us the wrong way, or they say something the wrong way and it hurts us, or it like makes us feel bad, like we're being criticized and judged, and it's hurtful. But I could read out of one of my own magic books, and I may have to do that. But now that my cat's in my lap, once she's in my lap, I usually don't make it a point to move a whole lot. Excuse me. And at the same time, I got to keep my voice down. So Brooke, hun, I love you. I love the boys. Anytime you want to have them watch a live stream of mine, please do. And just, I would love to say hi to them. You know, considering Michael's actually talked to them on the phone and stuff, and I haven't really. I got to hear Cohen the other day, and I love that one. Um, but you know, bring them on. Let them see what it's all about. And when they're on, just let me know, and I'll try to be careful how I articulate things and how I, you know, express things. Like I'll try to keep it down on the cussing and, you know, try to keep it positive and stuff like that. Um, but when my cat here decides that she's done laying in mommy's lap, and yes, I'm clashing. I got red, white, and blue, black, and pink on. So what? You know, I'm a witch. I believe in being comfortable. It's not a fashion statement. For some, it is. Now, don't get me wrong. I love to go out sometimes on a certain day, like today, for instance, and dress very witchy. But me, my way of dressing witchy would be wearing one of my black witch dresses or a black outfit, and I would have a bunch of purple accessories or purple scarves or, you know, something like that. Hey, lay down. This is Princess Kalika or Kalika. You can call her Princess, or you can call her Kalika, or you can call her both. It's all her name. She was a cat I had before. Her soul found me again. She was born with the birthmark of an eternal tear, that it's like part of her fur and it looks like a tear. And that was her way of helping me to notice that it was her, because she was so hurt that she hurt me. She hated hurting me and leaving me when she did, but it may have just been her time to go. And she didn't want me to see her die. So she she left, and I never saw her again. Never knew her fate. Don't want to know. Well, I have an idea. I think I've put it on other live streams, but on the off chance that your boys might come on, I want to be careful what I say, because I don't want to upset them, uh, or talk about things that they can't even remotely begin to understand. Because I mean, I'm still learning. You know, I'm still learning, and I hope you're doing okay, Brooke. But I suggest go find the Green Witch and find, I can't think of the other girl's name. She's gothic. She calls herself Hearth. Hearth is the spelling of it. But she's very British. She has her hair pulled back. It's really long. Her face is white. She has the black lipstick. She has magical symbols behind her. It's awesome. I can't wait to watch her beginner thing. But she's much younger. You can tell. I mean, to me, she looks like she could be in her teens. I don't know. I don't know if she said her name. I can't talk today. Her age or not. But weirdly enough, today, I guess in celebration of Imbolc, which I don't know how Lady Bridget is connected with Imbolc, but I'm sure she is in some way. Bridget, she's a goddess, and a lot of witches take on the name. They take on the name Lady Bridget or something Bridget, you know. And magical crafting, again, both of those I think you would really enjoy. Magical crafting, the Green Witch, and the new one. As soon as I get her name and stuff, I will put it on a live stream or whatever, and type it in for you, even so you can write it down. And then when you're done, say, okay, I'm done, and then I'll remove it off the live stream. Um, or maybe I'll just leave it on. But here's the thing: if I leave it on without her permission, without her okay, you know what I'm saying? It's like, even though it might just be my subs that are going to see the live stream that has it in it, maybe for now at least I should go ahead, just let you write it down, let you go check her out. Leave a comment, like the video. I've already liked the Green Witch beginners video. I got to find my way back to that video and go into the comment section, and which is going to require it playing again. So that, with my astrology parapsychology diploma, I am very proud of that. I've got it hanging on my wall behind me, and I am not going to go through all the trouble and hoop-de-ha to get it down off the wall. Sorry, but trust me when I say it's there. Stratford Career Institute, Janet Feinstein, and yeah, that's the only course literally so far that I have completed through Stratford. Now, Stratford it's not like a regular school. It's more like it's a career institute. So it's the career institute that I never had enough credits to go to when I was in high school because I was a dummy head and I quit halfway through 10th grade. Don't do that. They say that you don't truly regret it until you have to teach the next generation that, yeah, stay in school, don't quit. I mean, because sometimes it's just, I don't know, maybe the education system's better now. I don't really know because I don't have any kids in school. But Brooke, honey, you do. Yes, I will do something for Imbolc. I just don't know what yet, and I can't get to any of my books because Kalika's laying on my lap. And Krista's laying down, so I have to keep my voice down. Um, but Imbolc for me is kind of like winter's on its way out, hopefully, but still, come March, it can still be cold, even April. Uh, May, if we're lucky, that's when summer might really start kicking in. But today I am celebrating Imbolc. I'm just trying to figure out the particular way to celebrate it because I don't have the materials to make myself something, and I don't have any construction paper so that I could like try to cut out little dolls and try to do some kind of picture to honor Lady Bridget or Goddess Bridget. I call her Lady Bridget because I know a lot of witches that go by the name Lady Bridget. The magical crafting is Lady Bridget. That's what she goes by. And I'm like, okay. I would love to have seen the Hecate, what we call Hecate, but she calls them Hecate, or rather her. Uh, I would love to see her shrine to Hecate, um, because I know it would be stunning and beautiful. And I could probably do one to Bast myself using my little rubber stamp that I have over on my altar that when I got it, one of the ears was broke off. And I still have the stamps that go with it. I still have the stamp pad, but I haven't used it in so long. It's just collecting dust, and I'm thinking about maybe taking each one and do like a border over the top and maybe down the side of the paper that I don't want to write past. So that'll kind of be a definitive line. So it'll go like this, just regular notebook paper. I could do daily Imbolc. See what my daily card is because I do have a deck handy. You're okay. You're okay, Kalika. Mommy just had to get something out of her purse. Sorry if you don't understand that. Okay. So bear with me as I'm just kind of letting it flow as I go. That's what I'll call it. Letting it flow as I go. I have a tarot deck here that Brooke got me that I love dearly because literally every card it looks like a foil card from like the Magic the Gathering deck. And I rather, I don't know, kind of freaked myself out and frightened myself a little. Yeah, there they are. I won't do those right now though because I already did it. Anyway, my very first deck was a Rider-Waite deck, the old traditional Rider-Waite. And it was given to me by a friend. That's why I will never part with it. It might get so old at some point that the cards are literally chipping and breaking and falling apart. And when it gets to that point, then I will retire it. But I'm still keeping it. It will go in a sacred box. And when we move to the new place, I will get me a little curio cabinet to put it in to display it forever as my first one and therefore my most sacred because I was the closest bonded with the Rider-Waite deck. And well, this is the Rider-Waite deck as well. So it'll be interesting to see what my card is for today. Now, I couldn't do anybody else's card unless they were on here with me. And then that's why I do subs only most times because at least if my subs are on here, I can rationalize that that means that those of you that have decided to join my channel are getting something out of it, are, uh, getting something out of it, being inspired in some way, um, whatever. I mean, it can go in many different directions. But we'll see if Holly pops on too, because she may see and notice that I'm on. Oh, let me go say hi to Janet. But Brooke or somebody, any one of you would be fine by me. Please let me know how many followers I have, because I haven't figured out how to look that up on here. I honestly don't know where to look. So that's, I mean, even though I've been doing these vlogs for a long time, good few months now, or maybe even a couple of years by now. I don't know. Sometimes time goes so fast. But anyway, let me get my daily card. I always shuffle it like about 3 times. Then I set it down and I do 4 piles to my left, and then I pick them up with my right hand. So I pull them with my left hand and then bring them up with my right. I'll show sometime, but I'll have to, I'll have to change the angle of the camera so you can see what I'm talking about. And then I put them together, and then I tap the back of them 3 times to wake up the deck. That's what we call waking up the deck. And that's like your energies. That's my way of telling my energies, okay, let's focus on this now. Let's focus on, okay, what is my daily card for Imbolc today? This should be interesting. And then I just hold the deck up. What is my card for Imbolc today from this deck? My single daily message for today. Ace of Cups. Cool. Ace of Cups. Okay. Now, when you're bonding with the deck, a good way to do that is, and this is part of the inspiration I got from the Green Witch. You just focus on one card for each day. You can choose to write down what the card means. I can give my own interpretation of it, but if I read the one out of the book, I would have to put my eyeballs, I call it my eyeballs. I'd have to put my glasses on, and I think this is in like 2 different languages, or is it all English? Let me look. Okay, I guess it's just one language. Good, that makes it easier. All right. Okay, page 1. Okay, that's the Ace of Cups. I gotta get my glasses for this, or I won't be able to read nothing. It'll just all be a blur to me. Interesting, very interesting. So, and I will try to get one of my books and read their particular way of celebrating Imbolc. I wish I could find my other Wicca Solitary Practitioner guide. That'd be easier. And I'll get back to bonding with the deck here in a minute. Okay, so that is Wands, Cups, Ace of Cups. According to the book that comes with this deck, the waters are beneath, upon which are water lilies. The hand issues from the cloud, upholding in its palm the cup, from which 4 streams are pouring. A dove bearing in its beak a cross-marked host descends to place the water in the cup. The dew of water is falling on all sides. It is an intimation of that which may lie behind the lesser arcana. Divinatory meaning: true heart, joy, contentment, abode, nourishment, abundance, fertility, holy table, felicity, reversed, false heart, mutation, instability, revolution. Mine was upright. So upright is true heart, joy, contentment, abode, nourishment, abundance, fertility, holy table, felicity. But how I bond, let me say it this way, how I bond with the deck. It could be different for other people. It's pretty much about the same as I do when I pick out a crystal. That's why I do it this way, because it's just too hard to do it the other way. I carry this in my purse all the time. And because of that, the box is like getting destroyed already. And I don't like that it's getting destroyed, because the box is just as beautiful as the deck to me. So the Ace of Cups is short version. I would call this a card of blessings. When it's upright like this, you can only see the colors. See the pretty colors? Isn't that neat? That's what I mean. Each one is a foil. The whole deck is a foil deck. It's just absolutely stunning to look at because of all the different colors, the rainbow colors, rainbow prism in it. When I hold this, I see the God and Goddess handing me a cup of blessings. Good job. Here you go. Here's your reward. And it's really cool. Keep up the good work. Keep the peace. Find contentment in various ways. Allow yourself to float upon the waters of peace. There's so many ways you can interpret this card. And there's water droplets raining down. So that to me is blessings as well. Now, when it's reversed, that means the card appears upside down. This is reversed. Then it's a totally different meaning when it's reversed. And sometimes it's a warning. Sometimes it is a confirmation of something, even though we may not like what that confirmation is, whether it's a question we asked or a feeling we had about something, so we wanted to know more about it, or, okay, should I date this guy, Jack? Should I date this girl, Barbara? What kind of characteristics am I looking for in a mate? And just things like that. I just, I'm pulling my hair with my ring. Good one. Anyway, I have an interesting story for everybody, because I'm still trying to figure this out, okay? My bass necklace, my empathy crystal. My empathy crystal was clipped on to my Philgia. Somehow it unhooked itself from this, hooked itself onto the necklace with bast. Now, what that means, I don't know. Maybe it's some extra type of shielding that Bast is trying to make me aware of that is around me now. It could be her way of letting me know that she's with me, which is great. I need to work on a harmony spell or something. Well, this is water, so I've been trying to drink water. But before I get too sidetracked, let me see. Whoops. Get a drink of my pop. That might be Brooke now. I guess we'll see if she pops on here in a minute. I don't see anything. Let me check. Did she ever answer me? Hey, on live on Janelle. Come say hi. So let's see if I can go ahead and get out of that. I know what I can do. I know it. Another way I can have music on here. Let's do this one. Haven't done this one in a while. I don't know how well people will be able to hear it, but while I'm waiting to see if give Brooke a chance to pop on, if she even gets my text. Let's see what book I can find. I'd really like to find my Wicca Solitary Practitioner Guide. But let's see. History booklets. This one will do, I guess. Yep, you can tell this is one of my books because I have a bunch of papers in it. Okay. I gotta find where this book's pretty old. I'm looking for. Okay, in the spirit of, we'll see, I don't want to turn this up too loud, so I apologize if you guys can't hear it a lot. In the spirit of Imbolc, I am going to read you the history and philosophy of witchcraft, and then I will look into Imbolc. Okay, this is a second edition. I met Ray Buckland one year at a Universal Light Expo at the old building that is now a museum. So let's see, how many pages is this one? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 16 pages. Okay. Before really getting into what witchcraft is, perhaps we should take a look back at what it was, the history of it. Witches should be aware of their roots, aware of how and why the persecutions came about, for instance, and where and when the re-emergence took place. There is a great deal to be learned from the past. It is true that much of history can seem dry and boring to many of us, but that is far from so. With the history of witchcraft, it is very much alive and filled with excitement. There have been many books written on the history of witchcraft. The vast majority have suffered from bias, as well as will be explained shortly, but a few of the more recently published ones have told the story accurately, or as accurately as we can determine. The late Dr. Margaret Murray traced back and saw witchcraft's origins in Paleolithic times, 25,000 years ago. She saw it as a more or less unbroken line through to the present, and as a fully organized religion throughout Western Europe for centuries before Christianity. Recently, scholars have disputed much of what Murray said. She did, however, present some tangible evidence and much thought-provoking material. As a probable development of religio-magic rather than witchcraft per se, her theories are still respected. 25,000 years ago, Paleolithic woman and man depended upon hunting to survive. Very true. Wicca started with shamanism, believe it or not. Only by success in the hunt could there be food to eat, skins for warmth and shelter, bones to fashion into tools and weapons. In those days, woman and man believed in a multitude of gods. Nature was overwhelming. Out of awe and respect for the gusting wind, the violent lightning, the rushing stream, woman and man ascribed to each a spirit, made each a deity. A god. This is what we call animism. A god controlled that wind. A god controlled the sky. A god controlled the waters. But most of all, a god controlled the all important hunt, a god of hunting, or Cernunnos. Most of the animals hunted were horned, so woman and man pictured the god of hunting also as being horned. It was at this time that magic became mixed in with these first faltering steps of religion. The earliest form of magic was probably of the sympathetic variety. Similar things, it was thought, have similar effects. Like attracts like. If a life-size clay model of a bison was made, then attacked and killed, then a hunt of the real bison should also end in a kill. Religio, magical, ritual, was born when one of the cavemen threw on his skin an antlered mask and played the part of the hunting god, directing the attack. There are still in existence cave paintings of such rituals, together with the spear stabbed clay models of bison and bears. It is interesting to see how this form of sympathetic magic survived right through a relatively modern times, right through to, relatively modern times. The Penobscot Indians, for example, less than 100 years ago, wore deer masks and horns when performing rituals for the same purpose. The Mandan Indians' buffalo dance is another example. Along with this god of hunting, there was a goddess, though which came first or whether they evolved together, we do not know, and it is immaterial. If there were to be animals to hunt, there had to be fertility of those animals. If the tribe was to continue and there was a high mortality rate in those days, then there had to be fertility of woman and man. Again, sympathetic magic played a part. Clay models were made of the animals mating, and in an accompanying ritual, the members of the tribe would copulate. There are many carved and modeled representations of the fertility goddess extant, generally known as Venus figurines. Other examples include the Venus of Lossel and the Venuses of Sireuil and of Lespugne. All are similar in that the feminine attributes of these figures are greatly overemphasized. They have heavy, pendulous breasts, large buttocks, and oftentimes a swollen belly, as though pregnant, and exaggerated genitalia. There is invariably complete lack of identity with the rest of the body. The face is not defined, and the arms and legs, if there at all, are barely suggested. The reason is that woman and man was solely concerned with the fertility aspect. Woman was the bearer and nurser of the young. The goddess was her representative as the great provider and comforter, Mother Nature or Mother Earth. With the development of agriculture, there was a further elevating of the goddess. She now watched over the fertility of the crops as well as of tribe and of animal. The year then fell naturally into two halves, and the summer food could be grown, and so the goddess predominated. In the winter, woman and man had to revert to hunting, and so the god predominated. The other deities of wind, thunder, lightning, etc., gradually fell into the background, now of secondary importance. As woman and man developed, so did the religion, for that is what it had become, slowly and naturally. Woman and man spread across Europe, taking the gods along. As different countries developed, so the god and goddess acquired different names, though not always totally different, sometimes simply variations on the same name. Yet they were essentially the same deities. This is well illustrated in Britain, where in the south of England is found Cernunnos, literally the Horned One. To the north, the same god is known as Cerne, Cerne, a shortened form. And in still another area, the name has become Herne, Herne. By now, woman and man had learned not only to grow food, but also to store it for the winter. So hunting became less important. The horned god came now to be looked upon more as a god of nature, generally, and a god of death and what lies after. The goddess was still of fertility and also of rebirth, for woman and man had developed a belief in life after death. This is evidenced from the burial customs of the period. The gray gravitite, Gravettians, 22,000 to 18,000 BCE, were innovators here. They would bury their deceased with full clothing and ornaments, and would sprinkle them with red ochre, hematite, or iron peroxide to give back the appearance of life. Frequently, family members would be buried beneath the hearth so that they might remain close to the family. A man would be buried with his weapons, perhaps even his dog, all that he might need in the afterlife. It is not difficult to see how a belief in a life after death came about. At the root of it were dreams. To quote from Witchcraft from the Inside, Buckland, Llewellyn Publications, 1975. When man slept, he was, to his family and friends, like one of the dead. True, in sleep, he occasionally moved and he breathed, but otherwise he was lifeless. Yet when he awoke, he could tell of having been out hunting in the forest. He could tell of having met and talked with friends who really were dead. The others to whom he spoke could believe him, for they too had experienced such dreams. They knew he had not actually set foot outside the cave, but at the same time they knew he was not lying. It seemed that the world of sleep was as the material world. There were trees and mountains, animals and people. Even the dead were there, seemingly unchanged many years after death. In this other world, then, man must need the same things he needed in this world. With the development of different rituals for fertility, for success in the hunt, for seasonal needs, there necessarily developed a priesthood. A select few more able to bring results when directing the rituals. In some areas of Europe, though probably not as generally widespread as Murray indicated, these real ritual leaders, or priests and priestesses, became known as the Wicca, the wise ones. In fact, by the time of the Anglo-Saxon kings in England, the king would never think of acting on any important matter without consulting the Witan, the council of wise ones. Indeed, the Wicca did have to be wise. They not only led the religious rites, but also had to have knowledge of herbal lore, magic, and divination. They had to be doctor, lawyer, magician, and priest to the people. The Wicca were plenipotentiaries between them and the gods. But at the great festivals, they almost became like gods themselves. With the coming of Christianity, there was not the immediate mass conversion that is often suggested. Christianity was a man-made religion. It had not evolved gradually and naturally over thousands of years. As we have seen that the old religion did, whole countries were classed as Christian, when in actuality it was only the rulers who had adopted the new religion, and often only superficially at that. Throughout Europe, generally, the old religion, in its many and varied forms, was still prominent for the first 1,000 years of Christianity. An attempt at mass conversion was made by Pope Gregory the Great. He thought that one way to get the people to attend the new Christian churches was to have them built on the sites of the older temples, where the people were accustomed to gathering together to worship. He instructed his bishops to smash any idols and to sprinkle the temples with holy water and rededicate them. To a large extent, Gregory was successful, yet the people were not quite as gullible as he thought. When the first Christian churches were being constructed, the only artisans available to build them were from among the pagans themselves. In decorating the churches, these stonemasons and wood carvers very cleverly incorporated figures of their own deities. In this way, even if they were forced to attend the churches, the people could still worship their own gods there. There are many of these figures still in existence today. The goddess is usually depicted as very much a fertility deity, with legs spread wide and with greatly enlarged genitalia. Such figures are usually referred to as Sheila na gigs. The god is shown as a horned head surrounded by foliage, known as a foliate mask, and also sometimes referred to as Jack of the Green or Robin of the Woods. Robin of the Woods. Incidentally, these carvings of the old god should not be confused with gargoyles. The latter are the hideous faces and figures carved on the four corners of church towers to frighten away demons. In those early days, when Christianity was slowly growing in strength, the old religion, the Wiccans and other pagans, was one of its rivals. It is only natural to want to get rid of a rival, and the church pulled no punches to do just that. It has frequently been said that the gods of an old religion become the devils of a new. This was certainly the case here. The god of the old religion was a horned god, so apparently was the Christian's devil. Obviously, then, reasoned the church, the pagans were devil worshippers. This type of reasoning is used by the church even today. Missionaries were particularly prone to label all primitive tribes upon whom they stumbled as devil worshippers, just because the tribe worshipped a god or gods other than the Christian one. It would not matter that the people were good, happy, often morally and ethically better living than the vast majority of Christians. They had to be converted. Carpal tunnel, sorry. The charge of devil worship, so often leveled at witches, is ridiculous. The devil is a purely Christian invention, there being no mention of him as such before the New Testament. In fact, it is interesting to note that the whole concept of evil associated with the devil is due to an error in translation. The original Old Testament Hebrew, Satan, and the New Testament Greek, diabolos, simply mean opponent or adversary. It should be remembered that the idea of dividing the supreme power into two, good and evil, is the idea of an advanced and complex civilization. The old gods, through their gradual development, were very much human, in that they would have their good side and their bad side. It was the idea of an all good, all loving deity that necessitated an antagonist. In simple language, you can only have the color white if there is an opposite color, black, to which you can compare it. Let me make sure. Which you can compare it. Okay. This view of an all-good God was developed by Zoroaster or Zarathustra in Persia in the 7th century BCE. The idea later spread westward and was picked up in Mithraism and later in Christianity. As Christianity gradually grew in strength, so the old religion was slowly pushed back until about the time of the Reformation. The old religion still existed in the outlying country districts. Non-Christians at that time became known as pagans and heathens. Pagan comes from the Latin pagani and simply means people who live in the country. The word heathen means one who dwells on the heath. So the terms were appropriate for non-Christians at that time. But they bore no connotations of evil, and their use today in a derogatory sense is quite incorrect. As the centuries passed, the smear campaign against non-Christians continued. What the Wiccans did was reversed and used against them. They did magic to promote fertility and to increase the crops. The church claimed that they made women and cattle barren and blighted the crops. No one apparently stopped to think that if the witches really did what they were accused of, they would suffer equally themselves. After all, they too had to eat to live. An old ritual act for fertility was for the villagers to go to the fields in the light of the full moon and to dance around the field astride pitchforks, poles, and broomsticks, riding them like hobby horses. They would leap high in the air as they danced to show the crops how high to grow, a harmless enough form of sympathetic magic. Yet the church claimed not only that they were working against the crops, but that they actually flew through the air on their poles, surely the work of the devil. In 1484, Pope Innocent III produced his bull against witches. 2 years later, two infamous German monks, Heinrich Institorus Kramer and Jacob Sprenger, produced their incredible concoction of anti-witchery, the Malleus Maleficarum, Maleficarum, the witch's hammer. In this book, definite instructions were given for the prosecution of witches. When the book was submitted to the theological faculty of the University of Cologne, however, the appointed censor at that time, the majority of the professors refused to have anything to do with it. Kramer and Sprenger, undaunted, forged the approbation of the whole faculty of forgery that was not discovered until 1898. The Malleus Maleficarum is in 3 parts, the first of which treats the 3 necessary concomitants of witchcraft are the devil, a witch, and the permission of Almighty God. Here the reader is first admonished that to not believe in witchcraft is hearsay. Points are then covered on whether children can be generated by incubi and succubi, witches, copulation with the devil, whether witches can sway the minds of men to love or hatred, whether witches can habitate the powers of generation or obstruct the venereal act, whether witches may work some prestigiatory illusion so that the male organ appears to be entirely removed and separate from the body. Various ways that the witches may kill the child conceived in the womb, etc. The second part, treating of the methods of which works of witchcraft are wrought and directed, and how they may be successfully annulled and dissolved, deals with the several methods by which devils through witches entice and allure the innocent to the increase of that horrid craft and company, the way whereby a formal pact with evil is made, how they transport from place to place, how witches impede and prevent the power of procreation, how, as it were, they deprive man of his virile member, how witch midwives commit horrid crimes when they either kill children or offer them to devils in most accursed ways, how witches injure cattle, raise and stir up hailstorms and tempests, and cause lightning to blast both men and beasts. Then follow remedies for the above. The third part of the book, relating to the judicial proceedings in both the ecclesiastical and civil courts against witches, and indeed all heretics, is perhaps the most important. It is here that the order of the trial is dealt with. Who are the fit and proper judges for the trial of witches is the first question. It goes on to the method of initiating a process, the solemn adjuration and re-examination of witnesses, the quality and condition of witnesses, whether mortal enemies may be admitted as witnesses. Here we are told that the testimony of men of low repute and criminals and of servants against their masters is admitted. It is to be noted that a witness is not to be disqualified because of every sort of enmity. We learned that in the case of witchcraft, virtually anybody may give evidence, though in any other case they would not be admitted. Even the evidence of young children was admissible. It is obvious from the above that the authors of the Malleus Maleficarum had certain obsessions. A large number of the chapters are, for example, concerned with sexual aspects of witchcraft. Who were the authors of this infamous work? They were two Dominicans named Jacob Springer and Heinrich Institor Kramer. Institor. So that's just a fairly quick, short, sweet, to the point of what this Maleficorium was. Well, I've never owned a copy of it. I question that as a witch, should I own it? Just to let people know this is how they persecuted witches. This is how they persecuted free thinking women, which a lot of times were not even witches. They were accused of being witches because they were free thinkers, and free thinkers was not allowed. But this is a book. It says the complete book of witchcraft. The whole entire thing pretty much is tests. And I made it to, it looks like lesson 13, got down to question 5. Okay, so where did question 5 come from? Oh, I bet it's over here, and that's why I'm not seeing it. Okay, question 5. Henry Wilson is in love with Amy Kershaw. She is not in love with him. Explain how you would determine what to put on a talisman for Henry, and when and how you would make it. Henry's birth date is October 12th, 1947, and Amy's is July 3rd, 1958. And my answer was, list the coven games you have tried and their results. Oh, sorry, that was lesson 12. Go away. Keep having these weird numbers call me. But anyway, that was my bad. It was lesson 12 that I got that from. So lesson 12, first question, and then I guess I wrote it on this side. List the coven games you have tried and their results. Okay, so this was chapter 12's question. But anyway, it's been so long since I've gone through this book. Okay. Anyway, so I don't get too far ahead. But the book is literally full of exams that you can do. That is pretty much how you would learn it in school, if such a thing was ever allowed to be learned in school, which, as we witches know, it was not. So that's because I think a lot of it, I don't know. And this is just my personal opinion. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that, a lot of people will agree with it. But my personal opinion is my personal opinion, and I have a right to it, just like anybody else has a right to theirs. And they may clash. But when I did the lessons, apparently I stopped at lesson 12 because I thought to myself, this is silly. I've been doing magic for 32 years. Why am I doing this? But I was like, you know what? I'm going to finish it. So I really should. Coven games. Okay, let me try it this way. Well, first and foremost, let me finish my first thought. Coven games, according to the question. What a coven is and what a coven means, what it means when you consider yourself part of a coven, is it is a group of established witches that call themselves witches, that feel they are truly drawn to the craft, that they're meant to do it. They're meant to pursue it. It feels right in their heart. It feels right in their mind. It feels right in their spirit. Freedom of religion. If God and Goddess didn't want us to do but one religion, then in my opinion, only one would be allowed on the entire planet. And that is not the case. Freedom of religion, the free will to choose your own religion, because there are religions out there that are meant to teach us about other religions so that we can in turn find our way to what ours feels is the right one. You should always go with the right one. What feels right in here to you as an individual, what feels right in here, and what feels right in your spirit. If you feel, I feel like I want to do this, then do it. Get the Buckland Blue Book. It's definitely worth having. Go through the lessons and just, see how far you get. I mean, oh, wait a second. Oh, and it was quite by accident. I forgot. There isn't just lessons in here, I guess. That was just the section that was on lessons, maybe. Okay, lesson 5. No, it's still considered lessons. Covens and degrees. All right. Before I get too sidetracked again, I'm going to find Imbolc in here and share with you what they used for their Imbolc celebration. Marriage, birth, channeling. Okay, they didn't have Imbolc in here. Why is Imbolc not in here? It should be. Well, apparently I'm going to have to get another one of my books. The autumnal equinox. Okay. Summer solstice. They don't have all of them listed, do they? Okay. Dream interpretation, universal symbols. Yes, this is definitely a book worth having. And it does have a lot of good lessons in it. Posture, time of day, method, persistence. It's like, that's why I'm starting from the very beginning of the book, because there's just so much to cover. But when a group of established witches, what I mean by established is you have decided that the path of witchcraft is for you, or the path of Wicca. See, Wicca and witchcraft, yes, they are used interchangeably by many of us witches on the earth, but that doesn't mean that they're one and the same. They're actually two very different. Like Wicca is a form of religion that is nature-based. So we worship the trees, we worship the ground, we worship the air, we worship the water, we worship the sun, we worship the moon. Natural witches, a lot of people will call themselves, because it is true, you are a natural witch when you are so connected with the earth that you have a relationship with every living thing on the planet, and you can talk to them calmly and nicely and ask them, like, believe it or not, roaches, please leave my home. You're not welcome here. You're not wanted here. I cannot afford to feed all of you. You keep producing babies, and I'm tired of being overrun. I'm tired of not even being able to sit anywhere or sleep at night because you're crawling on me. But you can ask them to leave nicely. Do it with a magic ritual or spell of some type that doesn't hurt it, just makes it leave. Imagine your home free of all roaches, free of all bed bugs, free of all pests, rats, mice, if you have any of those, which ours is just bed bugs and roaches, but those are equally a nightmare. And Chris does try to keep the furniture sprayed and, often, so that it kills any new ones that are born and so on, so we're not getting overrun with them again. But we cannot afford to get the vinyl covers that I would rather put on the couch. And with a couch like this, because on each end, but not in the middle, you have a little button on the side you can push, and it lifts up the footrest. But basically, from other witches, what I have learned was the Malleus Maleficarum is how to kill witches, and in the most horrid ways, and the most like blasphemous, sacrilegious, you name it. It's wrong, just every kind of wrong. Because if God didn't want us to have free will, in my opinion, we wouldn't. Um, but I have some other stuff I have to do, so I am going to end this live stream for now. Look for part two, Imbolc part two, which I will try to do here in a little bit when I can find a book, one of my books that I have that I can get to easily right now, that has the Imbolc ceremony or a Imbolc ceremony in it, and I can at least read it for you from there. And then if people would like, and my subs would like, I will even add to that. This is how I would celebrate Imbolc, and this is how I'm trying to celebrate Imbolc. I'm just kind of playing around with different ideas. I'm not saying that this is a book I wrote, because it's not. It's Raymond Buckland. He's highly revered by many witches. I met him once. It was a beautiful experience. He was really nice, tiny guy. He was not, I mean, I don't mean that disrespectfully. He was, I think, either my height or a little bit taller than me. But to me, he seemed really sweet. But it was so many years ago, and it was at the old veterans building that used to be where they used to, it's the museum now. They used to have the Universal Light Expos there. That's where I went to one of his workshops. I sat in the front row, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't even remember what I said. I remember he was talking about apporting, where you teleport an object from one place to another, or you can even do it with a person, apparently. So he went into this lovely story, but about, this poor woman that they ended up apporting to their group, and poor thing was still in her dressing gown, and she was getting ready to write something on some paper because she still had the quill in her hand and ink dripped from it. That'll be in part two, so come back and watch for part two. Blessed be. Happy Imbolc. I want to make it fun. I'm going to try. God has helped me.